Welcome. You're listening to the University of Akron Marketing Podcast, sponsored by S3 Technologies.
Welcome back to the Zip Code for Success. I'm, of course, your host, Jaden Hughes.
And Jian Kim.
Today, we have a very special guest who has one of the coolest jobs in sports media. Joining us today is Khalil Smith, a video editor for the Los Angeles Lakers. He is responsible for crafting engaging content that brings the Lakers story to life. We'll dive into his journey, career advice, and behind-the-scenes world of sports media. Welcome to the show.
Welcome. Thanks for having me. Good to be back at UA. Good to be back always.
Okay, let's start from the beginning. Where did you grow up, and what first sparked your interest in video editing and content creation?
Well, I was born and raised in Silver Spring, Maryland, and both my parents are from Kingston, Jamaica, born and raised. They both immigrated here in the late 70s after school, but they didn't meet until later in life. I was born in 1994 and went to school. All grade school was in Maryland. How I got to UA was actually a unique story because I actually came here to walk onto the football team. That was my goal. I was a high school kicker on the football team, and I wanted to try out in the spring. But when spring came around, I had other ideas and ambitions. So I actually went to school here to study athletic training and pre-physical therapy. I was going to go to school for that after grad school as well. And then I did my first internship when I was 19, and I realized I didn't love being at a PT clinic all day. I was like, man, I'm 19 now. What's it going to be like when I'm 29, 39? I'm not sure. So I didn't know what to do. I was either going to transfer, come back home. Wasn't sure what to do. I noticed that we had a TV and radio program at Colby Hall upstairs on the third floor.
Right.
Walked up there, asked to interview and be a part of the program. And this is what happened. So that's how I got my start in video editing. I wasn't just an editor at first. First, I always recommend get all the skills. I did radio. I talked on camera. I was behind the camera. Had my own show just like you two as well. But early I really knew that video editing was my best skill. And so once I broke into the industry, I was able to become more of a specialist. And now I'm just a strictly video editor for now. So that's how I got my career started. But I didn't, 16, 15, wasn't thinking about video production and all of that. Not at all. I wanted to be a athletic trainer.
Right. Speaking of the University of Akron, could you share your most memorable moment or something that piques your memory with the University of Akron with your time here?
Wow, there's a lot of moments I can pick from, but the moment I probably pick is all not about me. It was actually winning the Emmy as a student on my last year in Akron. It was an achievement that I won at the time. Like now when I'm older, I'm not as, award driven as much. I more so do it for love, other aspects of life come in. So, but at that time when I was a student, I really wanted to win that Emmy for my team. And I had my news team that I produced, Lights Camera Akron, from way back in 2016. And when we won the award, I realized it wasn't really about winning the award, but more so the journey to get there. And just having us all at the table together, getting nominated. And it wasn't really about the award. Like nowadays, I get the award to my parents, like they have it at the house. Right. But I was really realizing about the journey, the teamwork, the camaraderie, us coming together as people, as young people, because we weren't friends when we all met, obviously. And just seeing where we started from to where we got to, I'm more appreciative of that than the actual trophy itself. So right. It was a full circle moment when I graduated. I'm like, wow, like this is exactly how I wanted it to be.
Okay. What were some of the early projects you worked on that made you realize this was the right career for you?
So that was one of them, starting in school. I remember my very first project. My producer asked me to do a feature. I didn't know what a feature was. I made one phone call to a family member. They didn't pick up the phone. And tomorrow I have to, quote unquote, shoot this feature. Right. I was like, what do I do? What's a feature? So I was in a moment of panic, obviously. I was young. It was my first ever video shoot. I'm going by myself. No producer to my left with me. And I just used basic logic to kind of figure it out. I'm like, okay. I was interviewing a football player. Okay, maybe I should write some questions, not just about his time here, like where is he from? He was from Florida. He had to commute from Florida to Ohio. Never been to Ohio before. He's a really good player. Do you have ambitions about the NFL? So once I figured out, like, okay, just have good questions to ask him, like, I kind of figured it out without knowing I was doing a feature.
Right.
And at the end of it, the SID at the time of the football team, she said, you did a really good job. Your questions were really good, really clean. The shot was really nice and tight. So going from I don't know what I'm doing to I did a good job at that moment, I was like, okay, at least I have a shot here.
Yeah. Yeah. How did you break into the sports media industry, and what were some of the key steps that led you to the Los Angeles Lakers?
So first, starts with failure, obviously.
Right.
When I was coming out of college, not just myself, but a lot of my peers had high hopes for me, and it wasn't instant. I graduated in May, and I didn't get my first offer until January of the next year. It was a lot of trial and error, a lot of interviews, but each time I failed and didn't get the job offer that I wanted, it was also a good learning experience. I remember, because I'm from Maryland, so I remember traveling to New York. I traveled to Boston for an interview. These are things that, looking back now, I'm like, wow, that was really valuable, even if I didn't get the job. And it was a risky decision I made. My first, I guess, gig out of college was in California, in Los Angeles. I was interning for a podcast network, just like this.
Nice.
And of course, my parents were a little nervous. Mom was very nervous, obviously.
Right.
You're leaving again. You just came home and all that. And my father was like, basically learning from our journey. We came from a place far away to make it here. So now it's your turn. And he gave me that confidence to say, okay, you can take this risk, but make it work though.
Right.
And I made it work. So I got to the Lakers. Before I was working in LA, I was working in the Bay Area in NFL at first for the San Francisco 49ers for a couple seasons, and then working for an agency in Oakland. So at the time, I wasn't looking to join a sports team again. I really wanted to pivot to commercial work, maybe do some film work someday, and get to LA for a different reason. I didn't think I was going to go to LA to be with the Lakers at all, but they had a job opening. I was looking for a move anyway, but I didn't think it would be the Lakers at all. And I was like, I have no contacts at the Lakers. I have no ends, if you will, at all. So
You're going in blind.
I sent an application.
Right.
Application, had my experience on there, had UA at the bottom, of course, like I always do. And once I got the call for the first interview, I felt confident that I can get this. It's more about getting that first door. You'll get through the other doors later.
Yeah.
And I always say, once I get my hands on a wheel, I never let go.
Right.
But I have to get my hands on the wheel first. And once I did, I'm like, okay, I got this. And I recall being confident about the whole process. It was a long process, but it was worth the wait. And now I'm with the Lakers now. So
Yeah.
I'm in my third season there, and glad I made that move and hit apply, because I wasn't looking to move to LA at the time, but I'm glad I took another risk and went back to LA, if you will. So
Right.
that's how I got there.
What does a typical day look like for you as a video editor for one of the biggest franchises in the NBA?
What does a typical day look like? So I always start my day not thinking about myself, meaning I don't just wake up every day and try to just edit first thing in the morning. Obviously, I connect with my supervisors, my teammates, check all my emails, check all these assignments that I'm doing, but what other people are doing as well. Just as like an easy warm up, I don't drink coffee, so I need need to ease into my day before I really start getting busy in the editing software. But the majority of my time is as an editor. Some different projects I do. It can be something from, you may see on the arena board at our arena. It could be a feature like we did on YouTube recently. But we're not just a basketball team, mind you. These organizations aren't just like this team itself.
Yeah.
We have a lot of different departments, like you may see in any other company. Like we have a community team, we have corporate sponsorships, data analytics. So a lot of projects that I do isn't just basketball. I may do a piece just on our youth foundation at the Lakers, or I may do a piece that's corporate sponsor related. So it definitely varies, and I do enjoy the variety. So it's not just like the same exact thing every single time.
Yeah.
But yeah, like an easy start, then get into the grind, and then often like, I need work-life balance. Like I bake in my day about 5-10 minutes of free time, meaning I sit on one side of the building and my team is on the other side, and I always make 5-10 minutes to walk over there, say hello. We may have a small talk, just to have an easy little break during the day, just to keep things light and keep it fun as well.
Right. What are some of the most exciting or challenging projects that you've worked on?
Well, one was recently. I don't know if you ever read a really big trade a couple weeks ago.
Yep.
And that's a really good example of working in sports where it can be unpredictable at times. And that was a real fire drill because I didn't really know before what was going on. And we found out just like you two found out on the news, on Twitter X.
It was out of the blue.
On Instagram, etc. So, funny story, I actually I went to bed early that night, a little early. So I didn't know about the trade until the next morning early. So at first I had to see if it was true. It was confirmed. And I immediately said, okay, we got to get to work. And this time around, there's no panic because a few years earlier, I was part of another big transaction. I was working for the Philadelphia Phillies in baseball. And it was a similar situation where we didn't get a heads up that we had just signed Bryce Harper, the superstar, for a record-setting deal. And I remember hearing rumors about it, just like we all do our reading articles. And I had a special folder on my desktop that said number 34 on it, which was his number at the time. He was playing in Washington. And every time I had some sort of idea or like this song or like this whatever, I just put in that little folder just in case it would happen.
Yeah.
Of course it happens and it's a fire drill, but I had the folder ready. I was ready to go. And same thing here with Luka Doncic, where I have certain assets that I kind of keep in my back pocket just in case something big happens.
Yeah.
So when it happened, a lot of people, I got a lot of messages from not only my team, but from my peers as well. And speaking of Philadelphia, they're very supportive of me, like throughout my journey. I worked there 2018 and 19, but we've stayed in contact, made good friends. And I expected them to reach out to be like, oh, this is nuts and all that. But I actually texted my old marketing boss and said, I'll be all right. We've been here before. I'll be all right. So you don't have to panic about what Khalil's going through. I said, I got it. He said, I'm impressed. Yeah, we've been there before. So nothing new, just buckle down and execute.
How much creative freedom do you have in your role? Do you work closely with players, coaches, or marketing team?
In my role at the Lakers, a little bit, but I'm really independent. Well, first, with any sports team, you have to show professionalism and understand this is a job for not just me, but them in the business. So always you be respectful of their time and their space, first and foremost. In terms of, I have some interaction with players sometimes, but like I said, keep it professional. Can you repeat the last part of your question? I'm sorry.
Do you work closely with the players, coaches, or marketing team?
Oh, marketing team, yes, of course. Me and my marketing team are always hand in hand. I mean, I literally bake in time to go see them just to hang out. Also, part of that morning routine is checking in with them, my project management team, to make sure everything's okay, step by step, make sure we're on schedule as well. So we collaborate a lot. And one thing that my peers may say about me is that Khalil is very... he likes to connect all the people. He's like a conductor. He's the most likely to go to this person, this graphic designer, ask for this. He'll go to this staff writer and ask for this definition or for this piece written. He will go to this motion designer and say, hey, can we tag team on this? I like it because it gets them involved. It gets them a chance to showcase their skills in different ways just by me asking a question, saying, hey, do you want to be a part of this? And it creates synergy, not just the work, but it creates synergy, chemistry, trust as well. That hey, we can work together, not just independently, because we all have we're mainly independent, but like we can also come together and create something even bigger when the time calls.
Right. Speaking with the Luka thing, that was obviously very important, but can you share a memorable moment or project that stands out in your career with the Lakers?
Oof. I'd say the Kobe Bryant tribute for a statue that unveiled last February. And first, when I got the assignment, my boss asked me, have you ever made a Kobe video before? I said, no. He's like, really? Like, not even for fun? I'm like, no, not even for fun. So that was my first ever time doing any content about him and his life. And what I remember most is not the final product, which of course people loved and, got a lot of adoration. But I just remember all the late nights at the facility, staying late every single night, all the archival I had to go through. I really enjoyed that process, not just, making the video, but the grind, the work ethic. And sort of tapping into his life and how hard he worked.
Yeah.
It was like, well, I'm a part of the Kobe Bryant experience right now. Like I understood him a lot better after I was done.
Yeah. It wasn't just a post. This was a story that you were writing. This is
Right. Like I understand him more because I grew up on the East Coast. I didn't watch Laker games every night like my peers did and my colleagues did, but man, I remember just really up the late nights, staying overnight sometimes, till the next morning, still working.
right.
I got a taste of the Mamba mentality experience. So that's really memorable for me.
That's awesome. Yeah.
What skills do you think are most essential for students to master when looking to work in sports media and video editing?
To be adaptable and to be versatile. Like I mentioned at the beginning of the podcast, I started as a jack of all trades, in front of the camera, behind the camera. I didn't expect to be, a radio host, but I was for a semester. Because when you first come out of school, I'll say this. Getting the first job is always the hardest. But after you get your second job, you can kind of do what you want, in my opinion. Because if you do something one time, it's just one time. If you do it twice, oh, he or she's proven. Okay, now we're talking now. So to get that first job, I really, really stress about being versatile. I know we want to be specialists. Some people want to be specialists someday like I am myself, but that's the big thing because the one door you may be able to get through might be a different skill that you may have that your peers may not have. So you might have to go through a different door first to get to the door you want to later. So definitely want to be versatile as you can coming out of school.
Right. Just take the steps that are needed.
Right.
What are some common challenges in your field and how do you overcome them?
Technical difficulties, things you can't control. That's probably the hardest thing, is things you cannot control. Probably the most frustrating thing too, obviously, because you want to, do the best you can, and some things you can't account for. For instance, it was with my team now, and I was finishing a Hall of Fame tribute for one of our former players going to the Basketball Hall of Fame, Pau Gasol. I was almost done. I was about 90% done. I'm like, we're going to be done soon, guys. It's going to be great. And the hard drive just crashes. The whole thing, I had to start over. It was a week's worth of work, and it was due the next day. So I'm like, what am I going to do? Do we can it? What do I do? And just like the moment I mentioned earlier, just go back to tough moments you've already had before. In times of panic, just remain calm because you've been here before. Sometimes I feel, okay, I've been through worse before. I've seen worse before. So trusting yourself, trusting the work you've already done. I've always said you've already done the work. You've already done the work to get you where you are, to get you where in your seats right now. You've already done the work to get there. So rely on that work and trust the work you've done to get you to the next step. So in that situation, I said, okay, I've been here before. It's a fire drill, but I got this. And to get through that, basically, instead of working on the thing from scratch, which I had to, but what I did was I essentially made it in my head first before hopping on my keyboard to work, because I don't have time to make, decisions and let's try this, try that. It's like, okay, we have one shot to get this right within the next 30 hours. And that's how I was able to do it. Just making my head first. So when I walk into the edit session, I just full throttle, just go. Don't have to think twice about anything. There's no time for that. So that's how I got through that moment, because I've already done the work to get there.
Just being prepared.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Networking is huge in the media industry. What advice do you have for students or young professionals trying to make connections?
Obviously, first, professionalism, coming correct. And I'd say the landscape is a little different now than for you guys and girls before, when I was coming out of school, where in school I didn't even have Instagram in college. It was a thing, but I didn't even have it. And I'd say having a presentable, public page, like my page is public, but I only present certain things that are appropriate because you never was looking. We're looking. They're looking. Trust me. So you have to always be conscious of that as every step you go. And being up to speed on new media, I mentioned Instagram, but I remember years ago I was at an event sponsored by Nike, and I was speaking to Nike. I was very young. I was 22. I was an intern for a podcast network. So I'm like, oh my goodness, I get to network with all these people. And one person asked, we had a good conversation. He says, okay, what's your Instagram? I didn't have it. So that was the first time, like, okay, I have to be up to speed on everything. So being up to speed, being presentable, and give them something they will remember. I always say, give them something they will remember. I'll say that with my work too, but also when you're networking. I met someone outside of this podcast studio who I remember I was speaking here a couple of years ago, and I remember the face. I remember his presentation, and I'm like, do I know? He's like, yes, you're the young man who spoke to us a couple of years ago. So I remember him because he gave me something I remember. So that's one caveat I always give to young people is give them something we'll remember.
Just don't be a face in the crowd.
Right.
Give them something to remember.
It doesn't have to be anything boisterous or extra bold. It can be something even subtle.
Yeah.
But
for those dreaming of a job in sports media, what's one piece of advice you wish you had when you were starting out?
One piece of advice I had when I was starting out. That's a good one because there's a lot of things I can say for this one. A lot of things I wish I would have known. I will say, we mentioned keeping up the speed, staying up to speed as well, because technology moves so fast. And one hiccup I did have in my career is the quality of camera skyrocketed to where nowadays the younger generation has more access to technology and equipment that I didn't have when I was coming out of school. I came out of school 2017, so right before, a lot of new media went berserk and really took over. So even just staying on top of your game once you get into the industry as well. Another thing I would have told myself is to start preparing for the next chapter after college earlier. And it's not the kids' fault because I was heavily involved on campus, just like you two are, having a podcast and all that. And it was great because my resume was full, I had all this campus experience, but I did not prepare for like interviewing for full-time jobs until too close to graduation time. And I wish I would have taken the steps to really get my resume really buckled down earlier, let's say, going into your last semester or going into your last year, instead of waiting until after you graduate, it's like, oh my gosh, what do I do? Like, I need to get my stuff together. And that's the one thing I would have jumped on earlier is getting the post-grad plan ready. But I was so busy on campus, I was doing a great job, getting a lot of iteration. So I don't regret it. However, if I had to pick one thing to tell my younger self at age 20, I said, get your resume right earlier, my friend.
Yeah, get the head start.
Yes. We often get distracted here.
Before we wrap up, where can people find your work, and do you have any upcoming projects that you're excited about?
For my work, usually all my handles are just my first and last name, Khalil Smith. So put a lot of work on Instagram sometimes, but my main work is on my Vimeo page, which is where a lot of directors and editors put their work formally. In other words, like you get the full thing. Like on Instagram, I might just do a little clip because I'm like adapting to the different platforms, obviously. Yeah. So for like the full work, definitely go to my Vimeo page, Vimeo/Khalil Smith. And upcoming projects, we'll have to wait and see. Have to wait and see. Yeah, still in season. It's February, and hoping for a strong end to the season, and we'll see what happens then.
Any final words of encouragement for students or young professionals aspiring to break into sports media?
For the seniors and juniors, those who are, getting close to that graduation day, I would say do not be discouraged when your peers get that first job before you. Because like I said, I had to wait arguably the longest out of a lot of my peers. And especially in the social media era, it's intensified now in 2025 now. Like I said, I didn't have Instagram when I was in college. I'm glad I didn't because I would have been. It really can take a toll on young people. Jealousy comes in the play, self-confidence, all that, and it's your race, not anyone else's. Just remember that, and you can take tips from myself, someone who had to wait. Let's say you come out of school, don't get the job immediately. Like you're sitting across from someone who didn't get that job immediately for 4 or 5, 6, 7 months. It took some time. It's okay to bloom a little bit later. So I'd say when you come out of school, just try to run your own race. It's your race only, not anyone else's, and don't get too discouraged when you're not the timeline that you want to be on when you graduate school.
Right. It's been an absolute pleasure having you here. Thanks for sharing your journey and insights with us. That's it for today's episode. If you enjoyed this conversation, be sure to follow us at the Taylor Institute Instagram and the U Akron marketing page. Until next time, keep chasing success, and we will see you all next time. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks for having me.